And Margaret, I'm just getting an email now from CBS News contributor Richard Esposito. This says that according to multiple state, local, and federal law enforcement sources, the shooter who fired at Donald Trump was, quote, neutralized, as we have reported, by U.S. Secret Service agents. This was most likely from a counter-assault team. Multiple spectators were wounded and injured, at least one in critical condition. This is all based on initial reports, but what is happening now is we're starting to piece together what is it that exactly transpired. This is an active crime scene.
It is, and our reporters who follow every movement that the candidate makes, Jake Rosen, Olivia Rinaldi, were there. They saw it happen. They heard it. You can see from that very rough video that they dropped to the ground. And by the way, political violence is not necessarily a norm in this country, but let's put this in the context of not just the moment we're in, but what we, as reporters, have been preparing for, which is the expectation that in this election cycle, there very well may be political violence. And our reporters do train for that now. That is something you do typically when you go overseas to cover an election, but now our reporters are doing that to cover these rallies, to cover political conventions. And so we are happy to know that those two reporters are safe. But as we're seeing from the video they are feeding in.
I just watched one of the videos Jake Rosen sent in, and he's talking to attendees who are clearly traumatized. And one gentleman, I'm sure we'll have it soon here at CBS News on Air, had a shirt that clearly had blood on it in some capacity. And so you're seeing reporters doing their jobs for CBS News and other outlets, but you see those attendees just rattled by the experience of being part of a violent event.
Because even if there was an intended target, as there appears to have been, to have a shot like that, multiple shots at a very well-guarded stage, there were people in the area who were also hit, which suggests, and if you could hear it, it didn't sound like an automatic weapon, but there were others that were hit in the area. And we are being careful, and when we are reading these initial reports and editing, I would have to say, some of the graphic detail that we are getting from some of our reporters on the ground.
And we're just getting a new update that from our reporters, Olivia Rinaldi and Jake Rosen, and I'm sure you're getting this update as well, that people are being escorted out. Jake Rosen spoke to an emergency room physician who saw a man shot in the head with brain matter on the ground. That's according to an ER physician performed CPR, but he did not. He's dealing with that at this moment. That's Jake Rosen, to be clear, Jake Rosen, a reporter on the ground in Butler, Pennsylvania, has spoken to an emergency room physician who saw a man shot in the head with brain matter on the ground. That's based on Jake Rosen's reporting. Jake looked at the camera after the incident, saw blood coming from Trump's ear in some way, his neck. Jake was on the scene. He was our reporter on the scene. Scott MacFarlane, who has been on the ground doing excellent reporting as well, heard, in his view, 8 to 10 explosions based on his reporting. He said the crowd ducked based on his reporting notes, hit the ground when a popping sound occurred. To Margaret's point, it was a popping sound. The press was under the risers. They saw Secret Service swarm to the left of Trump following the incident, saw helicopters come in a few minutes after. That's based on the ground reporting from Olivia Rinaldi, Jake Rosen, and Scott MacFarlane, who are in Butler, Pennsylvania.
And we do have that reporting that at least one person has been injured in critical condition. And it is still early. A lot more details will come out. People's conditions change. They go up, they go down. We'll learn more about, hopefully, President Trump's condition. We are told he is safe, but we don't have the details. Was he hit directly? Was he just grazed? We're now being told that Vice President Kamala Harris has also been briefed on the incident. We know that President Biden has been briefed by members of his cabinet. Now Vice President Harris has been briefed. She was also addressing crowds today at her own rally, as was the First Lady. All of these figures out on the campaign trail as this campaign heats up.